And gentlemen, it's UK Film Ninja. Right, we are coming out for day 3. So, 2 sets. The detector's pissing me off. Bag of amendments. So we're going to go up there and amend the scrubland for the plot. So yeah, I might have confused some people with that video, 420 subsonic sunset. There's always some logic in my madness. Basically, before I could even drive, I had this dream that one day I would own a van with like 10k, and it would just be like subs and mid and treble, but more of the subs, and I'd just go around in that van blasting out heavy dub. I'm a really big dub fan, and I have been since little kid. And obviously now I know the reason why I like this music so much. Never clocked at all when I was listening to all this reggae. Not even once did it clock until a couple of years ago, and it was just like, no way. Anyway, so yeah, basically that's one side of it. The other side of it is, I don't know whether you know, but basically plants respond to sound. They particularly like the subsonic bass. Basically subsonic frequencies, because plants don't have ears like us, they require vibrations. So the subsonic vibrations basically vibrates the cell walls. It's scientifically studied and proven that plants respond to sound. And if you play subsonic bass to them, it vibrates all their cells and the water inside them, and it loosens the soil, and their roots can grow better, and it's crazy. So there's some subsonic bass for your plants. I also have made a track which is like pure tones. I might let some people have it if they're interested, but basically pure tones is the understanding that everything's vibrating. There's cells and molecules and atoms and all of this stuff in everything, and they all vibrate. They have a resonance frequency. Everything does. It all gives it off. It's just you can't hear it. It's like subsonic bass. Once you go past the frequency level of your ears, you can no longer hear it. You can only feel it. And it's the same in both directions, the higher end and the lower end. Same with light, the higher end and the lower end. We only experience like a small percentage of all the stuff that's actually going on here, but yeah, subsonic bass and plants is a match made. So yeah, play them to your plants. Anyway, I'm going to go on the site and I can't film it because yeah, it's bramble time. Anyway, in a bit. Right, so here we are, down at it. Now if you are kind of poor like me and you don't have a lot of money to just leave lying around and get lost, an alternative for something to leave down here is this. It's obviously bright in an obvious place. If anyone was to walk in here, they'd move that lighter more than likely. Someone's going to pick it up and move it. They might throw it down on the floor somewhere else, but you know, they'll either pick it up or they'll move it or kick it or whatever. So that's one idea. So as always, come on, focus, man. Yeah. Rolling chunky. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the amendments like I said I was going to do last time. Let me light this first. So I don't really have too much work to do down here because it's all done. And now that it's done, all I have to do each year is come and maintain it. And just maintain it as long as it doesn't get found. Because if it gets found, all of this was for nothing. All of these days' work was just gone. So I'm going to clear this out a little bit more. Not too much more, it doesn't really need that much doing to it. It's the ground, man, like shit's going to be in it. You'll have to sit there with machines to filter it all out to get it perfect. I don't need it perfect, I just need it good enough to grow these plants. It's good enough to grow all this shit big up and high, so you know it's good enough to grow these plants. Then with this amendment, right, so in here you can see all of that stuff. So from the video Ninja Glue, I was making this glue, which is basically cornstarch. Cornstarch isn't the same as corn flour. It's different. Basically, the cornstarch comes from like the kind of very tip of the corn kernel, whereas corn flour comes from the entirety of it. So there is a difference to it. So if you know about earthworms at all, you'll know that earthworms really like cardboard. If I laid cardboard down on here and I came and lifted it all up, the earthworms would be eating it all. Now, earthworms don't actually care about the cardboard. They're after the glue that's used to glue the cardboard together, and they like it because it gives them space where they can lay their little eggs in between the layers. So this is like 6 layers of paper towel soaked in a kind of wallpapery paste type substance made of corn flour, or cornstarch even, and let to dry and then cut up into little pieces. So these things will encourage the earthworms to come and eat it, and they'll go around in there. It's a little bit easier for them to eat because it's paper towel rather than the craft paper that they make cardboard out of. So that's what's mixed into there. In addition, let's see if I can get a bit. That is calcified seaweed. And there's the 6-time fertilizer, and just some general purpose compost. There's about 50-50, you see it's not very much, it's about 50-50 compost to 6 times, and the 6 times stuff is pretty strong. Like, it's 6 times stronger than farmyard manure, so it costs like £15 for a bag of it, but it goes a long way. So that's possibly even overkill for this amount of space. So we'll see how much I actually need to use. But I just basically throw it all out over the top and then mix it in. I'm going to finish this first and then get onto that. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, so still smoking it anyway. Thrown all the fertilizer all out over there. You can see it's all kind of like that. Still a bit freaky, man. I know that there's like very little chance of anyone being out here, but you never know. Creepers and fucking hollow men coming to block shit, man. Let's mix it all in. Doesn't need to be perfect in any way, shape or form. It's all, I'm trying to make a wild growing plant, man. And to be able to survive without any assistance. Gardening, making some secret gardening. Mix the shit out of this stuff, man. Pack it all in there, make it look lovely and nice. What the fuck are you doing? Get out, bastard. Okay, that's the difficult one. I mean, shit, man, this is going to grow weeds and all sorts of crap in it, so as the plants grow, I'll have to come down and do weeding and that, but never mind. I don't really know if you really want to watch this, man, do you know what I'm saying? It's like turning dirt and shit. Let me know if you really want to see fucking turning dirt and shit, man. Like, I'm not going to go and buy an expensive camera and start fucking doing things professionally just for YouTube. Like I kept saying, man, it's just a grow log for me to keep a record of what I did each year, shit that I can improve on, because if I can see it back, then, you know, I can make improvements. And it only needs to be good enough for me to be able to take the information that I need out of it. It's like I was saying, man, it's all about asking questions. You don't just ask people questions, and you ask things questions, and it will tell you what it is. Like, I mean, man, it's fucking simple. Like, you look at a sign, you ask the sign a question: what time is the shop open? The shop's open at this time. You know what I mean? You're asking questions all the time, but you're not thinking about the questions you're asking. So yeah, like for example, what time of year is it? Well, I can see from the date. How much water is there around in the area? Well, it's not very wet, it's really dry. How big was the overgrowth? It was quite big. What's it made out of? Mostly dead stuff. Some of it is alive, which you can clearly see, but the majority of it's dead. Was it difficult? I fucking remember it was, yeah. And I did it with a fucked up back. My back is still hurting, but it's nowhere near like last time. So, yeah, man. Turn the shit up. Go through on my hands and knees, and I'll kind of pick out some of these roots and shit, so not all of the crap is in there. Life of a ganja farmer, eh? And in essence, all done because the Lord told me to. You know, if he hadn't have done these things, then I wouldn't be here today doing this. So, yeah, that's good. It's good stuff. It will keep you safe. It's stuff that's going to keep you protected from the shit that they're going to start bringing in. Stuff that's going to give you fucking cancer in minutes. Shit cures cancer. Protects your cells. It works for you, not against you. It's like, it's your shield and defence physically in this world to the cancer fucking shit they're pumping into everything. So, I mean, I don't fucking tell you this. You know, inside your brain there's this thing called the pineal gland. It's like an eardrum inside your brain. You should go and look it up. It's a very interesting little thing that was put in your body. It's like a digital receiver of some kind. Now, sodium fluoride, sole purpose, calcifies it. Prevents your brain from having access to the pineal gland. And you're going to brush your teeth with that shit every fucking day. Oh man, I brushed my teeth with some stuff called Allodent. It's fucking amazing. I haven't been to the dentist in years. My teeth are healthiest you'd want, and dentists make money off fucking the shit they sell. So, unless their business is rotting teeth. Do you know what I mean? They want your teeth to rot so they can sell you new ones. So you're going to brush your teeth with shit that they recommend. Mate, come on now. No foolishness. Right. Fucking bramble fucks, man. Tell you what. Cut you down. Right, so there we go. Well, I've loosened up quite a lot of shit. A lot of stones and stuff in there that can come out. And you can, I don't know if you're noticing along the way, I don't know whether it's clear on here, but I'm churning up a lot of earthworms. And thankfully with this method, you don't kill them. Like when you dig shovels in, you kind of cut them in half and shit like that. So fork it up and then kind of cut through it to lessen the death. You're still going to kill them, but they're going to die. Birds are going to eat them and shit and whatever. The birds will all be down here in a bit to come and pick out all these worms. So, see shit loads of them, man, even baby ones. So they'll really enjoy that food I put in there for them. Basically, as it gets wet, hopefully there'll be some rain. Hopefully not soon, but there'll be some rain. All of those paper towels will get wet, and you know what paper towel looks like when it gets wet. Kind of becomes like translucent and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna pick the stones out and then I'll show you afterwards. Right. Right. So that's it done. So I went through and basically pulled stones like that out, little bits like this, pulled some of the weeds out and all that crap, and these like bubbly bits are like dirt. On the stone, obviously, like just little bubbly bits of dirt everywhere. So yeah, that's done. So the next thing to do is bring the plants and the irrigation system down. Now, in planting out, like, these are photo periods, okay, so I don't have to rush like an auto because it's got time. It's obviously got not forever, because the season doesn't last forever, but they're in those little root pouches, and I've been checking them out and just watching them and as they grow and whatever, and I don't show all of that stuff, but yeah, they're not quite at that point where they've created a root ball in those pots, and that's what they're designed to do. And normally they do that by the time they've reached their 4th node. So quite a few of them are on their 2nd and going into 3rd. So it's not long at all. The sudden kick in the heat of the weather has just caused them to exponentially go boom. So they're a lot bigger than the last time that I showed you, as everyone will be witnessing, because that's what happens when it gets into summer, because we're now in summer, early summer. So yeah, if the autos were growing wild, they would be about midway, like June, end of June-ish time is when they kind of have finished their flowering. So I'm certainly not going to come and put them out in June. I'm thinking I might go back to what I did when I first started growing, which was plant to the moon. I know that sounds weird, old and whatever. There is logic in it. The moon, when it is new, which means there's no moon, you can't see it at all, the water has kind of gone, because it controls water, is what the moon does, you know it, because it controls the tide, it controls all the water. So when the moon is full, it's like gone and pushed it out. When the moon ends and it goes into a new moon, it starts closing in and like kind of drawing the water down. And then when it finishes and it's a new moon, so there's no moon in the sky, you can't see it at all, so the opposite of a full moon, from that point on it then starts going up to the like blooming point, where all of the water has kind of been pushed up, and it's this motion of like up, down, up, down, like that. And that's what the lunar phase cycle does. So the logic of it planting is that when you plant at the new moon, so there is no moon, you plant then, so then it's going into a full moon, so the water's going up, so it's going to decrease shock, it's going to increase the volume of water, because the earth moves slowly, we move very quickly. We move very quickly in comparison to a lot of stuff on the earth. In fact, like 99%, we move way faster than it. So it seems, what doesn't take a long time to us seems like forever. That's yeah, man. I could tell you all about that stuff, but whatever. So yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. And the next moon, next new moon is in a couple of weeks' time, which should give them that point to really kind of make that root ball. And yeah, so all good. So I'm going to go over the other sites. I don't know whether I'll be able to show them. It might get too dark by the time I get over there and get finished, but I'll see what I can do. If not, I'll do them on another day. You can come and see, you'll see them in that video. Anyway, in a bit. Hello there, gents. We are back again. So I'm up at the primary site, and that's like just there. Now, when I came and scouted this site out, like, I didn't come down like at this time of year, so I know just from being up here, everything here in this patch here is going to get massive, like that tall, and this is going to be impenetrable without leaving a huge ass trail all the way through it and getting chewed up by thistles and thorns and shit that all grows up through here as well. So I'm thinking, dig out that patch of nettles just there and have that as a plot, and then what I can do is I can channel through the back end, and there's kind of like a walkway kind of style thing. It's just trees that kind of aren't covered in shit that I can walk through for dropping the water off, rather than down in there, because it's really exposed. Like, basically there's a road kind of just there, and like, I don't know if you can see the cars moving through. So yeah, basically if anyone comes down this road and they looked up here, they'd be able to see me, but in the height, once everything's going, you can't even get anywhere remotely even in here, like, at all. It's an absolute mission. Shit starts like tripping you up, and yeah, I'll show you, you'll see as it grows, this shit's gonna get huge. So anyway, I'm gonna dig out that patch and basically do the same what I did before, but obviously, as you can see in this case, there's no brambles. This case is just pure knowledge of the seasons. So so this will hide it for me rather than having to use a bramble bush, if that makes sense. This is going more into the art form of guerrilla growing, where you literally grow in plain sight. Like, someone could walk straight through here and completely ignore the plants because they're nestled in amongst everything else. It's like a magic eye puzzle type of situation. Like, you can't see the picture until you look, but then once you see it, you keep seeing it. So yeah, anyway, let's crack on. Right, so I've been bashing away for about I don't know, 20 minutes or so, and I've been going around this area down here, and I've been wondering to myself, what the fuck is this thing in here? It's really small, it feels like it's properly embedded in there, and I just finally managed to dig it out. Fuck, man, it is like a chunk of road or something. Like, look at this thing, man. God, fucking hell. Nice. Anyway, finishing on. Right, so guys, just dug out all of that. So it's roughly about 2 meters by 1 meter, and that'll fit 8 plants in there. Fairly-ish alright. Just kind of go around in a kind of a zigzaggy pattern. Drip emitters will go up at the top, drip down on the plant, all access from the back. All of this will grow up around here, covering up this area, and it will just kind of grow out like that. So then I might be able to get some nice shots of it all growing in the middle of all this mess. So yeah, I'm done for the day. The light's starting to fade, and I need to go and have a wash, because yeah, it's been hot and hot work, sweat, no blood today, which is good, and just sweat, no tears as well, so all good times. Anyway, so yeah, until next time, see you, UK Field Ninja. Yeah, shit, man, I forgot to show you this. This fucking shit that I did to that, man. I completely fucked that up. It's too much force, brute force. But yeah, anyway, next time, guys.